see there, that is your first bit of moss on the wreath. I'll show you that one more time, and then basically you just keep going around the whole thing. So, aha, there it is. Grab the moss, get a piece roughly sort of like hand length-ish. Like I said, don't worry about any bits that are torn off, nothing goes to waste. And then pop that underneath your wreath there, bit of soil. Handful of soil in there. Wrap your moss over the top, take off any excess, and then triangle it round again. And you might wonder why we're sending moss out to you, or why you're buying it as part of your wreath pack, when there's so much moss in the wild, but we're not actually allowed to forage any moss from the wild because it all belongs to the king or something weird like that. But it is just very good for the environment. It's a really important part of the ecosystem, so don't be tempted just to go and start ripping it off walls and trees and things, because it's yeah, very important and apparently illegal to take it. So that is why we send it out. So there you go. You've got a good bit of moss there. You feel it's nice and solid, and you just keep going all the way around your wreath, covering up this little what's the thingy, rope, that's the one. Covering that up as you go around. So you keep going round and round and round until, let's say it again, this one I made earlier. Until we get to this lovely situation. Do you know what, I actually love them just like this, because I am absolutely mad about moss. I just think it's gorgeous. So yeah, you might find that you could make something just with a few in the corner, or maybe you just want to hang a mossy wreath up. But for this demonstration, we're going to put succulents in. So the next stage is to take a look at all of your lovely plants and think about exactly where you'd like to put them on your wreath. So, I mean, this is entirely up to you. Depends what you think looks good. But I really like to have it so we're heavier around the bottom of the wreath, and it's kind of heavier along one side than the other, because I am allergic to symmetry and I can't bear it. But it's entirely up to you. You can put them wherever you like. But for mine, I'm going to start off with the bigger pieces down here in this left-hand corner. There you go, my right, left. I mean, it's a good job that lefts and rights aren't important in this situation, because I'm really bad at them. So we'll start with this guy. As you can see, I've already taken quite a lot of the soil off him. Here's one I made earlier thing again. I can't believe how many times I get to say that. So exciting. So there we go. So it's like a little plug. Like I said, these succulents are quite hardy, so you don't have to be too gentle with them. Not big divas like a lot of flowers. So we've got this one. Because this is quite a tall one, you might want to think about which way it leans. So I quite like a look of them sort of leaning inwards, especially when they're around the side of the wreaths. But you might not. So have a little look, see what you think looks right. And we're working where our wire has finished here. So from there, again, my muddy hands, there's no hope for them, but you might want to get a chopstick, or my friend used a screwdriver, but I don't know if I should be recommending that, to make a nice little hole in your wreath there. So this stuff's forgiving, we can always pin stuff back on afterwards, so if it goes wrong, don't sweat it. Oh, a wobbly little leaf here, so I'm just going to twist him off and pop them in there, and we'll talk about those at the end. So from here, you've made a nice hole in your wreath there, and holding your succulent by the roots, and wedge it in at an angle that you're happy with. Well, this is quite a good one to start with actually, because it's got a bit of a longer stem than some of the others. So this is where some of that moss that we saved from earlier comes back in. So what's quite nice to do, and they've got a longer stem, is to get a little bit of moss and just to support them around the bottom there, just while they're bedding in with their roots. Stops them from being too wobbly, makes it nice and hardy. So I had one of these in the back of my car the other day, and a massive hair jumped out on me, and I slammed the brakes on, and this wreath went flying in my car, and I thought, that's it, my car's just going to be like full of moss and soil. But actually, it was pretty much intact. It just had 2 little holes in it where 2 succulents had come out and they hadn't even broken, so I just popped them back in. But yeah, my point being they're proper secure once you've wedged them in and they've taken root. So yeah, supported that one with moss all the way around the edge. And now I'm just gonna go make a sort of triangle shape around him again. So I'll pull it round, so in front from the side, back up to the other side again, and then try and get nice and close to the stem of it on the other side as well. And that is lovely and secure. So we can go back round later with more mossing pins and things if you feel like any bit's a bit wobbly. That's absolutely fine. Right. Definitely drop them, that's an important stage. So this is a lovely little double one. You can decide whether or not you want to separate them. I quite like the look of them together, so I'm going to keep that. Am I though? Am I? I don't think I am. I'm going to separate that out. So gently gently work the roots apart from each other. Oh, bonus succulent. So there we go. So I'm going to pop this one in. He's not attached to his friend any longer, losing another leaf there. A couple look like they're not going to make it, so I'll pop them in the pot now to stop them going all slimy later on. So again, think about the angle of that. It's got a slight kind of curved shape to it, so I think it would be nice going round. So again, we'll make another hole in the wreath. You might want to wedge yours all together. You might want to leave them a bit of space. For this example, I'm going to leave them a tiny little bit of space each as we go round. So again, you've made your gap. Plug it in there. This one doesn't have so much of a long stem, so I don't feel like it's going to need wedging in with more moss. So again, right, so first of all we go round, do another loop round in between the two, just to take me here. And then again, so we start in the centre of the succulent, come up behind him. I feel like this one's a boy. And then right round, stay quite close to the centre. Oh, hello wobbly. Up underneath. Come back up at the centre again. Okay. Underneath. Do you know what? After all that big talk, I think I am going to give this one a little bit more moss to secure it in. There you go. Are you happy now? He says he's happy now. A bit more under that side as well. There we go. So I'll wrap him around underneath, and because I've added a bit of moss, do you know what? I'm just going to go around that one again. We all need a bit of extra support sometimes, right? That's what I mean about no little small bits of moss go to waste. We can always find somewhere for them. Remember, moss is very much still alive. So when you're ripping it up like this, it doesn't matter. It will carry on living as long as you keep it moist. So don't feel too much like you're brutalising it, ripping it up. Lovely. So I'm going to go around that one again. And these big ones are the trickier ones to get in.